What do you know about gastrodiplomacy? We discuss with Nikki, who is not only a coffee lover and a coffee professional, but also she studied law, international relationships, and gastrodiplomacy, which is our main subject of conversation today. Hi, I'm Artemis, and you're listening to Coffee Stain, a podcast full of real people stories, knowledge, and much inspiration about and beyond coffee. Personal and business stories full of passion, persistence, creativity, goals, and action. So get your coffee ready and join us. Good morning, Nikki. Welcome to Coffee Stain. I'm very, very glad that you're here with us today. And we have talked again some months ago during the lockdown in Milan and in Thessaloniki. And you're still in Milan now, and I'm still in Thessaloniki. So welcome, and let me ask, is your coffee ready?
Coffee is always ready here. And first of all, thank you for inviting me to join this pleasant conversation. And coffee, is always here. It's our best friend, as you well know.
It is our best friend. So, Nikki, you were born in Bologna, okay?
Exactly. You know everything.
And your full name, as it is written in your book, it's Elvira Nikki Di Landa, if I say it correct.
Exactly.
So,
wow, also your pronunciation is perfect.
So what it feels to be both Italian and Greek? A little bit of this and a little bit of that.
Exactly, as you said, a little bit of, you have pieces from one country and then the other, and you don't have a clear and exact identity. So it's a little bit confusing, especially when you are younger, because it's like you don't feel 100% Italian or 100% Greek. And it's a little bit confusing, honestly. But at the same time, it's a strength, especially when you grow up and you have this strong identity. And I mean, you have both Italian and Greek citizenship, which, okay, in the past centuries, they were the two countries that shaped the world in a certain sense, okay? So you have the Greek wisdom, the Italian taste for history, for ancient history. So you have strong roots, I can say.
So it is a very big asset in your life, we could say.
Yeah, it's not so bad in the end.
It is good. So if you could say some things about yourself in just one sentence, if you could describe your expertise now, what would you say?
Well, now, okay, we said the word confusing, the adjective confusing. Now it's confusing what I am and how I am. But I can say that in just one word, coffee describes my current situation, okay? So I can say I'm both a coffee lover and I'm a coffee professional. So I try to make my passion my daily routine. Okay, it's more than one word, more than one sentence.
I said one sentence.
Okay.
Coffee is a very important part of your life, but taking into consideration your studies that are not, that are many, let's say, you studied law, international relationships, gastrodiplomacy, when we can put
anything
coffee in there.
Coffee.
You're studying it now. If we talk about gastrodiplomacy, what can you say?
Yes.
What can you say about this? And how can we put coffee into this big niche?
Well, gastrodiplomacy is the main theme, okay, the framework of my last studies here in Milan when I moved back in Italy, and then I moved in Milan. And it was in 2015. It was the year of Expo. and everyone was talking about sustainability, food, how food can help the communities to grow and be sustainable. And I had the opportunity to get in touch with coffee producers. And at the same time, I was back from New York and Washington, D.C., where I had the opportunity to get in touch with people working in the field of gastrodiplomacy. And I said, what it is? I mean, it was so challenging and so surprising to bring this theme, this object of studies in Italy. And nowadays it's still the same because no one talks about this. I want just to let you know what is gastrodiplomacy in few words. It is the way that we can connect cultures, countries, people, basically, via food, through food recipes, food tasting, and coffee comes along with this because coffee is also a kind of food. Okay, it is a drink, but it's a raw material, a raw fruit that we are using in many ways and in many countries. I mean, all over the world you can find coffee. And the tradition of coffee is different from country to country. Then think about this. The first thing that you will do if someone comes to Thessaloniki, a friend of you, what is? Invite him or her for a coffee, okay?
Yes.
And sit at a table of a nice cafe and have a chat for hours. Okay, in Greece it's for hours. In Italy is more, they are faster. But after a meeting, what we will offer to our guests, to our partners? A coffee. We also talk about coffee breaks. And this is the time when people get together around the table, sharing the coffee, food, and putting all their roots, knowledge, experiences on the table and sharing with the other. So basically, this is how coffee diplomacy and gastrodiplomacy works.
Mm-hmm.
I hope I gave you the full picture of it.
Yes, you gave the full picture for me and for those that are listening to us. Nevertheless, now that you were talking, if we split this gastrodiplomacy into two parts, food and coffee, food in my mind has too many differences from one country to another. But on the other side, coffee is more or less, it's not the same, of course, but the differences to coffee are not so gigantic, I would say. But if you eat something in Greece or in Italy and you eat something in South America, there are many differences, or in India or in China. There are many differences. But coffee is a more uniting beverage, let's say.
People, you mean?
Yes, it's more or less the same around the world. It has its differences. But what could you say about this? This is my thought now.
Yeah, but try to think. If you go, I don't know, for instance, in producer countries like South America or Ethiopia, which is the place where coffee have been discovered, okay, many centuries ago. And the rituals around coffee, it's really full of these roots, of the cultural roots of the country. Think Ethiopia. Women, men will be dressed in a certain way. They will use a certain servers, certain cups. They will grind coffee in a certain way. They will roast coffee in a certain way for this coffee ceremony. Okay? Tea also works in this sense. If you think about the Asian part of the world, okay?
I understand. Yes.
So it's a ritual. Okay, nowadays coffee is seen as something, as a commodity. It's very, very fast. You just grab a coffee and go. And we take away the long black coffee we see everywhere in our cups nowadays. But because we lost a little bit the touch, the connection with the raw material, with the coffee cherries, with the coffee beans. Many of
Maybe,
us don't know even the smell of freshly roasted coffee bean. Okay.
yes, maybe the new generations, the last years. But if we remember some years ago when we were children, our grandmothers, probably our mothers, went to a coffee roastery and take
Mm-hmm.
the coffee fresh and not from the supermarket. So it's something that, as you said, we lost touch with all this
Exactly.
procedure and all this
Exactly.
ritual. Yes.
Exactly. I still remember this in Greece, I have to be honest, in the small village near Thessaloniki. And yeah, I still remember my grandma going there to Caffè Coptio, and
Hmm.
buying coffee, grounded coffee. And in Italy, I gotta be honest, the first thing that I can remember about coffee, yeah, it's coffee in the supermarket. No roasteries and yeah, maybe because I was born close to the 90s, so everything was becoming faster and
Mm.
very easy to get access to. But in Greece, it was still tradition, as you said.
Also, if you remember or if you have seen, there were some signs in some coffee roasteries that wrote in Greek that the coffee is grinded
Hmm.
in front of the client. Do you remember something like that?
I don't remember the science, but I do remember that they had these huge Utah sacks, okay, where you
Yes.
can just take your beans and yeah, the owner of the shop will grind in front
Yes,
of you.
yes.
Yeah, it
That
was
was,
freshly grounded, and I still remember how can we say, the aroma. Okay, and
yes,
it's unique. I mean, if you walk into a Greek street and you smell this aroma, you certainly know that close there is a roastery.
yes, you're right. We all have these memories,
Mm,
and the smell it's very powerful. It brings
mm, mm.
back, isn't it?
And this is the gastrodiplomacy. I mean, just with a few words, you can connect back to your roots, and you can share this with people from around the world.
What differences have you noticed that are really different from one country to another when we sit on the same table and let's say eating? Let's leave coffee because eating is more
Mhm.
complicated. What difference have
Yeah.
you noticed yourself?
Well, okay, let's take Italy and Greece. That a lot of people say, okay, we are so similar, we are like brothers and sisters. It depends. I mean, when it comes to food, we are very, very different because Italians pay a lot of attention. I mean, it's a ritual. Let's say about tradition, okay? Nowadays, everything is faster, as we said.
Okay.
But traditionally, they pay so much attention to every detail when preparing a meat and when they are sitting to a table. So they have the entree, they have the first course, the main course, side veggies, whatever, and then the dessert. And they also pair food with wine.
Hmm.
Okay, so if you eat fish, traditionally you have the white wine, and then with meat you have the red or rosé, and so on. In Greece, I see that last years the things are very, very different, and Greece food, the Greece culinary scene is growing very, very fast. I've
Hmm.
noticed, but traditionally they put all the plates on the table, okay, and they just share, like in Spain with the tapas, or in Turkey.
Hmm.
And this is something that it's very, very common in the south part of Europe, in the Mediterranean countries.
Hmm.
Whereas in Italy, it's more, you think more, and then you have some dishes that are only for some period of the year, sometimes of the year. And then you have these strong traditions about one region to another. I mean, you find some products only in the north of Italy and other products only in the south or on the islands, okay? Sardinia and Sicily. Well, Greece is more united, um, culinary speaking, okay? These are the main traditions. And Italians tend to eat more when they are at a table, and then they speak. Greeks can stay at a table for hours, for ages, not even eating, but just talking.
Although I agree with you in some parts, I disagree on the point that it's united, because I believe that also in Greece, in the islands, especially in the islands, they have a different
Mhm.
way of eating and different products. And as you said, for special periods, they eat this or that. But as far as the united table and all the dishes eaten by all, and just be a very big company, let's say, and eat from one from another's plate. This is this is a fact.
Yeah, this is true. This is true. But the general picture that comes is that Greek food is not very, how can I say, it's not very well known, even from, okay, abroad you have the idea that Greek food is only 10, 10 plates.
Yes, moussaka,
Exactly.
tzatziki, and souvlaki. Yes.
Exactly. Not even souvlaki, but maybe pita. Pita, which is this wide word. I'm Greek. Oh, okay, pita gyros. Yeah, but there's more.
Yes,
There is very, very a lot of.
there is a great culture behind food in Greece, because I do love food and cooking. You know that there is a great culture, but I only know the Greek culture. I know nothing about any other country, so I cannot talk about other countries.
But there is a common trait between Italy and Greece, that both citizenships, they are very, very proud of their products. I mean, for Italians, the Italian cuisine is the best in the world. And if you talk to a Greek, no, I mean, Greek food is the most ancient, and the Mediterranean diet, which is true in a certain sense. We cannot
Yes,
disagree with this. The Mediterranean diet was invented, let's say this, in Greece,
yes.
and
It's
it
what
has been
everyone
recognized.
is familiar with, I would say, because mm, although from countries of the north, when they taste any Mediterranean cuisine, uh, Greek, Italian, Spanish, they say that it's tasteful. It's totally different from what
Yeah,
they are used to. So
it's true. It's real. It's organic. It's not processed. How can I say? It's food. You
mm,
can call it food. Okay.
it has a lot of imagination in it.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So, a culture connection through food and through coffee. Could we say that it is a reality, or it's just a wishful thought that coffee and food and gastrodiplomacy can unite the nations, and we have the visual of the world being better?
Well, if we truly believe and if we study and recognize deeper our roots, we can really make it work. I mean, take countries like North Korea. Gastrodiplomacy it's a term that was invented in North Korea,
Wow.
which is unbelievable. And in the US, there is a department of the state working only at cultural diplomacy, which includes food diplomacy, sport diplomacy. Think the Olympic Games. This is a way of cultural diplomacy. It unites people from all over the world in a peaceful way.
Mm.
And it's unbelievable that countries like Italy, especially, they don't have a department of the cultural minister working towards the promotion of the territories, the food, the food products, food, wine, and so drinks, and Greece as well, because these countries can only live with these activities, if you think about it. If we promote and we forward it to the world, I mean, why the United States, which is a new country, okay, they were born how many centuries ago? A few centuries ago,
Yes.
compared to us, and they really push forward their roots, their experiences in food.
Maybe it's because the word food diplomacy or gastrodiplomacy was created, let's say, from North Korea, but maybe in our regions it's something that it's very natural and
yeah, something that we give for granted. I mean,
yes,
yeah,
we
we
take
have
for
great
granted.
food.
Yes, maybe that is the reason that we don't pay so much attention in it.
But it's part of our heritage, as long as with sightseeing, with ancient ruins, with books, with culture, with philosophy, painters, food. So it comes all together. It's part of our heritage, really.
We should call people that are interested in the gastrodiplomacy and food diplomacy to unite, let's say something about it in our countries.
Yeah, we should.
We should.
We should really.
If we talk about coffee itself, and
Yes.
as a part of gastrodiplomacy, because as people that are listening, our audience today have already understood, our main thing is gastrodiplomacy. So how can we attract more people to the coffee world, from the bean to the experience of tasting and drinking a great coffee?
Well, I was having this kind of conversation last Sunday, so 2 days ago, with a group of friends of coffee lovers here in Milan. We had the opportunity to meet on a Sunday morning and had this conversation. I mean, coffee should unite us, okay? Or not divide the coffee people into specialty coffee people and just coffee drinkers, let's say that. We should talk. The key, I think, is talking and sharing. You can talk through a podcast episode. You can talk writing on a blog, on your social media. As long as you talk, as long as you give people the opportunity to see what's behind a cup of coffee. Okay, it's not just a coffee pod you put in your espresso machine, you push the button, and in 10 seconds you have this dark beverage. Okay,
so sharing.
Yeah, sharing and describing. Think what we did with wine. Okay, storytelling is the key to connect people, because people want to know, to hear stories. Who's behind this cup of coffee, the producer, why it is so special, why it costs so much or so little, who's the roaster, why you decided to give up your, I don't know, your previous life to become a roaster, or why you came from another country, perhaps to Italy, and you open a roastery, despite the fact that it's so difficult and you don't know the language so well. I mean, I'm talking about examples that I see in my everyday life, but they are not so forwarded, not so, not publicized, let's say, in the right way.
And
It's
also,
not just a nice picture of a latte art cappuccino. There's more behind this.
mhm. And also because I have talked with many people that are not specialized in coffee, as
Hmm.
myself, of course. I'm not an expert in coffee, you know that. I love
But you
coffee.
love coffee.
Yes, I do love coffee, and I love to learn new things. And I think that listening to, I would put it inside brackets, ordinary people that do not know much about coffee is a
Hmm.
very important aspect
From the
coffee,
experience.
of an
That's. Hmm.
experience, and of the people that are listening that are experts in coffee, and to hear and to listen something that maybe they cannot see right now because they have passed this path. They are far away. So it's like you listen a child talking about something that he's not familiar with, but you have
Hmm.
done it many, 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 many times. So I think this part is also important, and that could be very important in order to unite us all more, experts and non-experts.
It is. And think about another aspect of our daily life. I think in Greece, as in Italy, in the last years, food programs are becoming more and more popular, right? We have a lot of these chefs that are now like rock stars, okay?
Yes.
And you are fascinated, okay, except of the nice guys with tattoos and this kind of stars that we see on TV, but we are fascinated about what they say. They make also, I don't know, a carrot or a cabbage look sexy and intriguing because what they say about these vegetables, about the meat they are going to cook, the
Hmm.
fish they are going to clean and to prepare for you. So it's the
Yes.
storytelling, basically.
I would say
Coffee,
that it is their passion for these ingredients.
exactly,
Yes. So share
exactly,
the passion. Please
exactly.
share the passion.
Exactly. They make a breast of a chicken breast so important, like it's the center of the world
Hmm.
in that time, okay, when they are in front of the camera. And coffee for us, just, yeah, give me just one coffee and I'll go. I mean, no, come on, let's take 30 seconds more. Think, if we take 30 seconds more every day to just say to every customer we have in front of us how much we can go further. I mean, 30
Yes.
seconds while espresso is brewing. I'm not asking you 2 or 3 minutes, 30 seconds.
Hmm.
How
It
much we
is.
can do.
Yes. Last year in Hotelia, when they were showing latte art, and I was together with my niece, and he was attending this course, he was excited. He was excited
Mm.
from what he was hearing. He's 10 years old. Last year he was 9, and he wanted to hear it all, to listen to it. And he asked me, how do they make it, and why, and how they can
Mm.
um, make so beautiful things with the milk. And he was excited, and he couldn't take his eyes from the board,
Oh.
from the
Mm.
big TV that was in front of him. Yes, I think we should be something like 10 years old again.
Yeah,
That
we
would be
should be like 10 years, like a sponge, ready to absorb every information and be curious.
exactly.
But
Yes,
the opposite part, we should also be like the one that was on stage that day showing the passion about latte art.
yes, both. A connection of these two aspects,
Exactly,
curiosity
exactly,
and knowledge and passion.
exactly.
Hmm. We met people maybe do not know this that are listening to us right now. We met last year in the barista camp in Athens. That was a great
Event, yeah, great
event, a great
opportunity.
event. Yes, that was a great
Mhm.
opportunity. And after that, we connected and we talked many times about coffee. And
Mm-hmm.
in
And
this period, yes,
was only 1 year ago, eh? It
yes,
was this
only.
period, 1 year
I,
ago.
I
Yeah.
think it looks in my mind that it was much more. Do you think the same?
Same. When I saw your water bottle this morning, I was like, oh, it was from last year.
Yes, yes, we have the same
It was a
bottle.
gadget from Barista Camp.
Yes. And during this period, many things happened, such as the coronavirus that it's affected all the world. And nevertheless, during this period, you did a great move, I would say, in the field of gastrodiplomacy, that you write a book, that you wrote a book. Because I think books are the best connection between people and countries and nations. So I would like you to tell us about your book and the period that you wrote it and what inspired you to write this beautiful book. That I would like also to thank you to the ears of our audience for giving it as a present to me. Thank you very much again.
You're more than welcome. I hope you enjoyed it.
I
Well,
did.
why I wrote this book? Actually, I don't know, because I wrote it in, let's say, in less than 1 month, and it was, I have this ritual, I can say, that every day I write the gratitude journal, which is my daily journal, where at the end or the beginning of every new day, I write something about why I should be grateful, and despite the bad things that are happening, why we should be always thankful for what we have. This is a ritual that comes from my yoga love, we can say. So during the quarantine that I was blocked here in Milan, and I was far from my family because they were living in another city, I was sitting here in my tiny house, which is only 20 square meters, and in order not to get mad, to drive me crazy, this situation, I started putting my thoughts, my experience, and I wrote. Every day I was writing down. So the idea of sharing this experience, it was more like a kind of therapy, I can say. Okay. I didn't wake up one day and, oh, let's write a book about Ibrick and how to work in the coffee field, in the coffee industry, and how to make your passion your daily work. No, it didn't happen like this. It was the result of a process. Our listeners should know that for the very first time ever, and I'm pretty new in the coffee sector, okay? I'm a beginner and a learner. In January, I take part to my very first competition ever here in Italy. And I was in the Ibrick competition. So preparing the traditional, let's call it Greek coffee for our listeners. And it was, well, honestly, let's say with an open heart, this was one of the worst periods, okay, personally speaking, because I have some family problems, family issues, and I was far from home. So taking part to a competition was really the last thing I was thinking about or that I wanted to do. In fact, in the last few days, I wanted to withdraw my participation, okay? To not take part, sorry, to the competition. But nevertheless, let's go straight to the point.
No, it's very important that you say all this because it gives, I believe that it gives to our audience the feeling of the dynamity that we have, each one of us, and what we can do to make things better and accomplish things, although we believe it's the worst period of our lives up to now. So I think
yeah, well,
what you say is very, very important.
Was really really bad, really awful, we can say, okay? So I was telling you about this very, very bad period of life. And then I was pushed not to give up by my trainer and by my family itself, not to give up and to go on stage and perform that day. So out of a blast comes the victory. So it was really, really nice and really important for me to be on that stage, because not because I wanted to prove something to someone, but it was important for myself, because if you start giving up and finding excuses not to do your daily activity,
And
which
move
could
on.
be, yeah, exactly, to go on with your life, then you will find every time an excuse. And then you just be, some way miserable, sitting there crying, oh, everything is against me and I cannot do this and do that. No, you just have to stop, think about the priorities, and for every obstacle there is a solution. Okay, as long as you believe you can really do whatever. Just set goals, have clear in your mind what you want to do, and just go for it. So then came the coronavirus after 1 month, and it was again something unexpected, something that turned my whole world upside down. So this book came as a therapy, as I want just to put out my feelings, the emotions, the storm I was having inside of me, basically, to share with someone, even if it's only 10 people, let's say, to share it with people that are close to me, what I was feeling that part of the year, that time of the year.
I remember that we were talking while we were writing this book. And
exactly, and it was a top secret, like, I won't tell you anything, I'm doing something.
yes.
But I won't tell you anything.
That is so good. That is so good. It was perfect. What you tell about it, about Ibrik, and you call it a journey of gypsy soul. That
Exactly.
it was perfect. A gypsy soul that is locked down in the little apartment. So controversial, but perfect. And I want
Exactly.
our audience to know that they can all find your book in Amazon. I don't know where else,
Yeah.
but in Amazon for sure. And they can read it. It's very easy to read. And
it's in English, we must say, okay? Because
yes,
someone was a little bit disappointed that it was not written in Italian. So I'm sorry, but it's in English.
it's in English, so anyone can read it. So it's very easy to read it. And it also
it's a
goes
short
fast.
story. Exactly. It's a
Yes, it
short
goes fast.
story.
It's beautiful. So as a conclusion of all these talking and drinking coffee through the internet today, Nikki, what would you say in order to close this beautiful conversation that we had today?
Well, first of all, I want to thank you again for inviting me, okay, and for sharing this lovely time together, despite we are far.
We are
What can I
close.
say? Far and close
Close
at the same
together.
time, because we have the cup of coffee together. So what can I say? I hope that situation will become more clear for everyone and easier.
Hopefully.
And that this won't take people too far, but that it will unite us, okay, more and more. So I hope we won't be afraid to ask for help, for attention, because what we have passed in the last months was something that we are not prepared, and no one should be prepared for that bad situation. Okay, hope the future generations won't experience something like what we went through. But at the same time, let's learn, even if it was so bad and so hard, but let's learn something good. Always find the good lessons, always find the good point of views, even in difficult situations. And this will take people closer.
I think there could not be a better way to close this conversation. I want to thank you from my heart for being here today and talking with me. And I hope our audience will listen to you and get inspired and take into consideration what you said about all these interesting points that we mentioned. So
and also share their thoughts, if I can add. Okay, if they want to write us to say what they are feeling, if they disagree as well.
Yes, that's very important. Yes, as you said, share and talk, and in order to understand one another better, much better. That would be a perfect way to. Also, the reason that I started this podcast is to unite coffee people, and the reason I named it Stain, it's because I believe that everyone has can leave a stain of his own in this world, a coffee
Exactly.
stain. So thank you, and we're waiting for you in Thessaloniki because, as you said, you're coming on Friday. Hopefully, we will be together and drink this coffee face to face and touch one another. Let's say touch, okay? So, Nikki, my kisses. Have a nice
From me as
day.
well. Thank you again. Thank you.
Bye bye.